Ever wondered what sets the highly effective individuals apart? How do they manage to balance their personal and professional lives so effortlessly? Today we are diving into the wisdom of Stephen R. Covey's iconic book to uncover the secrets to success and personal effectiveness. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. This book is more than just a manual, it's a roadmap to personal mastery and success. Whether you are a student, an entrepreneur, or just someone looking to make a meaningful change in your life, these 7 habits are the keys to unlocking your full potential. But what exactly are these habits? How can they transform your everyday life? And why do so many people swear by these principles for leading a fulfilling and successful life? In our exploration, we'll delve into each habit, understanding its core essence and practical applications. So, without further ado, let's begin. The first habit says be proactive. It's all about taking responsibility for your life. You might have heard the saying that life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. This habit embodies that philosophy. It's not just about waiting for things to happen, it's about taking control and making things happen. We all have a habit of saying we'll see at that time. Whenever a future scenario comes to our mind, most of us say we'll see it when it will happen. This is exactly what the author is asking us to avoid. Rather than waiting for it to happen, we should try to prepare for it beforehand. For example, consider my own experience. Whenever I, as a freelancer, am about to engage in a call with a new client, I always try to anticipate any questions or objections the client might have and prepare accordingly. This approach allows you to be in control of the situation, which is essential if you wish to stand out from the competition. Therefore, as the author suggests, start being proactive and you will never find yourself at a standstill in life. Now, diving into the second habit, begin with the end in mind. This principle revolves around the idea of envisioning your ultimate goal and orienting your actions towards achieving it. It's about having a clear destination in mind, which in turn guides every step you take. Just as a builder wouldn't start construction without a blueprint, the author suggests that you shouldn't embark on your career's or life's journey without a clear plan. You should know what you are aiming for and make sure that you are not just following the herd blindly. Again, I'm not saying that following is bad, but you should know what you are doing. In essence, beginning with the end in mind means to live, work, and plan with a clear understanding of your desired destination. You should ask 2 questions to yourself: why you are doing it and how you will do it. The why and how must be clear. It empowers you to take control of your journey, ensuring that each step you take is a step closer to where you want to be. So, in your mind, the end should be clear. Now that you have determined your values and principles, how can you begin taking action and living by those principles? By incorporating habit 3. Put first things first. How many times do you schedule out your week but then end up wasting time on things that aren't important? You feel as if you have no control over things that hinder you from accomplishing your true goals. Perhaps you try to incorporate time management skills but find that most techniques focus on efficiency, not effectiveness. So, how do you change this? By prioritizing and ensuring that the most important tasks are done first. Put everything else aside and get to those tasks later. While this sounds seemingly easy, you might find that you struggle to determine which tasks are important and which are a waste of time. The author has a tool to help you figure that out: the time management matrix. It is much more effective than just creating a to-do list of what needs to get done. By categorizing your tasks into urgency and importance, you create a 2x2 matrix. Quadrant 1 focuses on tasks that are both urgent and important. While this seems like a critical quadrant, this is more for tasks that become outside of your control, like crises that need to be dealt with right away. A deadline-driven project or a house burning down can both fit into this quadrant. Now, quadrant 2 is interesting. It focuses on tasks that are important but not urgent. Once again, tasks that are important but not urgent. This is most critical quadrant because these are the tasks that are most important to us. These tasks include studying for the entrance or planning for the future, basically long-term goals. These are important principles that will not happen overnight. Spend your time taking action that focuses on building upon the tasks that you put into quadrant 2. For instance, if you want to improve your vocabulary, take the time to read some pages of the book instead of scrolling through social media. Quadrant 3 focuses on tasks that are not important but are urgent. These tasks are those that interrupt our days, such as phone calls or meetings. If you find yourself prioritizing tasks in quadrant 3, you end up responding to the tasks that are based on the priorities of others, not yourself. This can lead to several consequences like short-term focus or feeling like your life is out of control. And quadrant 4 focuses on tasks that are neither important nor urgent. These tasks include those that are a complete waste of time, like watching an entire series on Netflix in one day or mindlessly scrolling social media while at work. These tasks lead to a life of complete dependence and cause people to get fired from their jobs. If you want to begin implementing habit 3, the best way to begin is by creating your own matrix and identifying the tasks in quadrant 2 that you have been neglecting. Commit to working on quadrant 2 in writing and begin prioritizing your actions. Now let's come down to the habit 4. Think win-win. It is all about crafting solutions where everyone wins. We all have a scarcity mentality which suggests that if one person wins, another loses. But what if I told you that life doesn't have to be that way? Instead, life doesn't have to be a competition. Both parties can definitely win. By creating a win-win mindset, you can begin to establish successful and interdependent relationships. This law is the base fundamental of every successful business out there. It has to be a win-win. Take Amazon for example. Amazon solves our problem by delivering goods while we are at the comfort of our home. And to do this, they take a commission. If you look carefully, both customers and sellers are happy with this deal, so it's a win-win. Uber is doing the same by making it possible to book a ride just with a click, right? Again, this habit isn't just for businesses. It's super relevant in our personal lives too. If you think win-win, you'll eventually find yourself building positive relationships because you'll end up strengthening both the parties rather than slowly destroying one. A good exercise to begin thinking about how you can implement this mindset is by identifying a relationship that you have that could benefit from a win-win solution. Now put yourself in the other person's shoes and write down the solutions that the other person would consider a win. Now write down what you consider a win. Try and come up with a solution that incorporates wins that mutually benefit each party. Again, it's just a brief summary. In the book, the author explains it in a deeper way. You can check that. If you want to purchase it, the Amazon link is in the description. Moving forward now, let's come down to habit 5. Let's try to understand this with an example. Let's say you have a disease and you visited a doctor for some consultancy. And even before listening to you completely, he started writing the prescription. Will you go to him the second time? Imagine you are dealing with some difficulties in your life and you called one of your friends to talk about it, and instead of carefully listening to you, he says his own thing. Will you ever call him again in this situation? In both the cases, your answer will be no, I guess. That is what this habit is about. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. It's a powerful principle about effective communication. It's about listening first with the intent to truly understand the other person's perspective rather than just listening with the intent to reply. This habit is about empathy, which is far more than mere sympathy. It's like stepping into the other person's shoes, seeing things from their viewpoint and then providing your perspective. Consider a typical conversation. How often do we find ourselves waiting for our turn to speak rather than really listening? Now flip that. Imagine you are discussing a project with a colleague and instead of immediately pushing your viewpoint, you first listen to their ideas and concerns. This approach not only opens up a more constructive dialogue but also builds trust and respect. Again, this habit isn't just about being a good listener, it's about being an effective communicator. It's understanding that the key to influencing others and resolving conflicts lies first in understanding them and then in being understood. Now, habit 6, which is synergize. Synergize revolves around the concept of creative cooperation. It is a concept that the combined value of each individual will be greater than each individual remaining independent. In other words, two heads are better than one. While each person thinks differently, each person offers something that can benefit the greater good. Synergy allows you to open yourself up to new opportunities with endless possibilities. Synergy allows you to listen to one another's differences and determine how to come together to tackle a shared challenge. So, for a team to be successful, synergy is a must. But how can you begin to synergize with your team? Begin with the habit 4 and 5 and think about win-win situations while trying truly to understand others around you. By valuing the different perspectives and opinions that each person has, you can begin to build something greater than yourself. For instance, a great movie isn't created by one person. Look at the movies like Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter. Without a team of creators, designers, writers, and more, the movies would never come to life as they do. Each team member has their own strengths that they bring to the table that benefits the project as a whole. So by valuing the mental, emotional, psychological differences between people, you can begin synergizing and creating something bigger than you could ever create on your own. Now the last habit, habit 7, sharpen the saw. It is about self-renewal and continual improvement. Just like a woodcutter sharpens his axe regularly, we have to sharpen ourselves as well. We must devote time to ourselves physically, spiritually, mentally, and socially. By sharpening your saw in these 4 areas, you can see the results for lasting effectiveness. Renewing yourself physically means eating well, getting sufficient rest, and exercising regularly to build flexibility, endurance, and strength. Staying physically active helps to sharpen one's proactivity. You have to become proactive towards your fitness rather than reacting to those forces that keep you away from exercising. So by doing this, you are practicing proactivity. Focusing on spiritual dimension means that you should examine your life and be mindful of your action. The goal of renewing your spiritual self can include meditating, praying, or connecting with nature. Spiritual dimension can help you practice habit 2, which is begin with the end in mind, since you consistently revise your principles and core values. To stay mentally healthy, you can read great books, keep a journal of your thoughts and insights, and limit the content that you watch to those that enrich your life and mind. You can also learn a new language or take courses to learn something new. There are a variety of ways to enrich yourself mentally. Additionally, focusing on mental health will help you practice habit 3, which is put first things first. Since you'll be utilizing your time management skills to maximize your time and resources. Lastly, it's important to work on your social and emotional health. Renewing yourself socially to develop meaningful relationships means you must seek to understand others, maintain an abundance mentality, and help others achieve their own success. By working on your social and emotional health, you are practicing habit 4, 5, and 6 by adopting a win-win mindset, seeking to understand others, and finding mutually beneficial solutions through synergy. To summarize this, through this book, we saw a powerful framework for personal and professional growth. These habits aren't just a set of independent principles, they work together synergetically, each building upon the other. In short, these are the 7 habits. Once again, be proactive. It means to take charge of your life, focusing on what you can influence instead of what is beyond your capability. Second, begin with the end in mind, which says set clear goals and align your actions to achieve them. Third, put first things first, which says stop wasting your time on tasks that seem urgent at the moment but don't align with your goals. Instead, prioritize your tasks and focus on the non-urgent but important items. Next, think win-win. It means to seek solutions that benefit all parties involved instead of just being selfish. Now, fifth, seek first to understand and then to be understood. It asks us to stop jumping to provide solution or a response. Instead, listen empathetically to understand others around you and then communicate ideas that align with another's feelings. Now, sixth, which says synergize, it is asking us to stop working independently. Instead, use the strength of others around you to create something you could have never created by yourself. And lastly, sharpen the saw, which says regularly renew yourselves physically, socially, mentally, and spiritually. Integrating these habits into your daily life can be transformative. Do let me know in the comments if you are already practicing some of these habits. If you find this video helpful, do give it a big thumbs up. It really cheers me up. Share with your friends who might find this helpful. Bye for now.